Hey everybody, it is 2026 and we are so back. Today we are looking at agent mode in Excel. Agent mode in Excel is a feature that allows you to directly edit and create content inside of Excel just by having a conversation with Copilot. It's available today in the web browser experience of Excel Online and coming to the desktop applications in the next coming weeks. So you can see here just from some Microsoft documentation that it says agent mode lets you build and edit workbooks, and it's best for complex multi-step tasks like reshaping data or merging sheets, building reports. And even if you don't know how to use all of those features, this is where agent mode is really powerful, where you can ask it to do this stuff for you. So I have this sheet here in Excel, and it's also really good at generating some demo data. So I quickly just asked, let me close this and just even go back a step. You open Copilot here on the ribbon, and if you have a Copilot license, you'll see things like the Work tab, and under the Tools menu here, you'll see Agent Mode. So this allows me to now jump into Agent Mode, and this was the last prompt that I submitted here saying, hey, can I have some demo data? I really wanted to show that you can clean up messy data in Excel. So things that are inconsistent, like improper capitalization or date formats that aren't consistent. This is something that agent mode really shines at. So I'm going to go back and just show you from scratch. We're going to enter agent mode again here and create a new chat. Now you see I have Claude turned on. You can choose the model that you prefer. So Copilot has the latest models from Anthropic, which is Claude, and OpenAI, which is your GPT. So the default is auto, and you can let that choose for you. I was just curious to see what Claude was like, so that's what I chose, but it's really personal preference, and you can experiment with those models to see what gives you the best result. So I'm going to leave it on auto for right now, and I'm going to ask Copilot to clean up this messy data for me. So I'm going to give it a very general prompt here and just say, clean up this messy data, ensure proper spelling, capitalization, consistent dates, etc. So we'll go ahead and submit this prompt, and we'll see Copilot start to think a little bit about what it needs to do. And it'll come up with a checklist of some of the assumptions that it thinks that I'm trying to do. And then it'll start executing on those steps one at a time and make these changes. Here's a closer look at the messy data. So you can see things like the date have several different formats, and then names and customers are not properly capitalized in several of these columns. So here's the final result with Copilot having cleaned the data. You can see it says it reasoned in 8 steps. You can expand this to see the different actions that it took, and then it explains what it did. So it says, hey, we cleaned the data and standardize it on sheet 2. It fixed capitalization and spelling issues in these columns, and it standardized the date to display a single format. Now, one of the issues that I noticed was it didn't do it for every single row. There were still a couple that were inconsistent. So this is a great example of having a conversation with Copilot where it may not immediately do what you want, and usually there's a reason for this. So if we scroll down, I had a follow-up prompt where I said, can you try again for row 18 and row 36? They still are a different date format from the rest of the data. So it reasoned in another 5 steps, and then it figured out that those cells were actually plain text. So unlike the rest of the column where all of those cells were the date format, these were plain text, so it didn't recognize that right away. So the initial explanation here, I still wasn't too sure why. Admittedly, Excel is not my strongest program, but no problem. Copilot's great for learning. So I had a follow-up question, and you can just have a regular question in the agent mode here as well. And I said, what was the issue with the inconsistent data entries? before you fix them. And that's where it explained it in a little more detail that those cells were text strings and not Excel dates. So it didn't recognize that on the first pass. So this is great. It properly cleaned the data, and now I understand exactly the actions that it took.